In my opinion, this has to be one of the most disgusting, yet at the same time, one of the most funniest scenes I've ever watched, as this is what I instantly think about whenever it comes to physical comedy, which in this case is the scene where Mr. Bean tries oysters and lobster for the first time at a French restaurant. However, clearly in that scene, he didn't really actually like it. This clip is taken from the 2007 film Mr. Bean's Holiday. The first timestamp in this video that I will fully dive deep into is between seconds 0 to 32 seconds. In the first 6 seconds of the clip, you can see the waiter making gestures towards Mr. Bean in a way of advising him how he should correctly eat the oysters. Now, immediately after the waiter leaves, you can now clearly see Mr. Bean, already in disgust, just as he glares over the oyster in his hand that he was about to eat. This was then followed roughly a second later with a close up of the oyster. Coming back to the headshot of Mr. Bean as he then looks to his left, possibly because either he did not want others to notice him, or even if they did, he did not want to further embarrass himself. The physical comedy comes into the perspective once Mr. Bean starts eating the oyster, and then right afterwards shaking aggressively, while also at the same time displaying a grimacing facial expression. This is an obvious giveaway that Mr. Bean did not like his plate. What makes it even more awkward and comedic is that the lady sitting to the right of him looks at Mr. Bean in a worrying manner for a brief period of time, as he continued shaking and making swishing noises in discomfort. Surprisingly, Mr. Bean at that specific moment did not notice the woman next to her. The next timestamp that I would like to deeply explain about is between seconds 33 to 1 minute and 8 seconds in. Into the clip. And I would like to start off by saying that this particular timestamp is way more disgusting and awkward than the last, while at the same time retaining its comical nature. The main reason as to why I am saying this has to do with the server coming back to check on Mr. Bean, simply to see if he was enjoying the plate. What also makes his timestamp comical is that as soon as Mr. Bean saw the server checking up on him, he pretended that he was enjoying the oysters, as he would make a chef's kissing gesture to further exaggerate his outer feelings that masked over his true discomfort. This was done because Mr. Bean did not want to further embarrass himself from the server and the rest of the guests. Neither did he want to also disappoint the server and make them feel sad, simply because he did not like his plate. What's also very noticeable in this particular timestamp is that he had looked back and forth between the server and his food numerous times, because of the aforementioned reasons above, and also additionally because he did not want to make a mess himself. Notice also Mr. Bean also holding his handkerchief just below the oyster shell that he was eating. Fortunately at that time, the server did not get to witness Mr. Bean in true discomfort, as he would smile back at him, as well as give him a short round of applause, likely in a way of saying, "Thank you, I am glad you enjoyed my dinner." The last timestamp that I'm going to explicitly explain about is between 2 minutes 40 seconds into 3 minutes 27 seconds in, and this is by far the funniest timestamp within this given film clip. This was after Mr. Bean decided to throw away the oyster he didn't get to finish into the woman's purse, out of disgust. The timestamp starts off by Mr. Bean struggling to chew out the lobster from his dinner plate. As he looked at the lady to her right once again, he started to hope that the woman would not be able to notice the mess he had made on top of the woman's purse, especially because the oyster was spilled on top of her cell phone. Now, as the woman's cell phone starts to ring, this is when Mr. Bean immediately begins to panic. The severity of how much Mr. Bean screwed up was further exaggeratingly displayed by another camera shot that was pointed closer into the woman's purse, and then eventually an even closer shot showing the inside of her purse, or her cell phone, and the spilled oyster on top of it was. Luckily for Mr. Bean, the first time the cell phone rang, the cell phone stopped sounding just as the woman was about to pick up her cell phone. Thinking it wasn't thinking it wasn't gonna happen again, Mr. Bean exhaled in great relief. However, he came to the quick realization that the woman's cell phone may ring again, and that she was going to actually pick it up. So in a hurry, Mr. Bean takes his money out of his tie and left it on the table to pay for his dinner, as he would also grab his camcorder. It was at this moment when the woman's phone started to ring again. However, luckily enough, Mr. Bean was able to bolt out of the restaurant at perfect timing, as the woman grabbed her phone and immediately started to scream after she found out the oyster that Mr. Bean spilled on her purse. The scene is then cut by Mr. Bean, seconds after leaving the restaurant, continuing to dash, pretending like it had never happened.